Hi, everybody. It's Patrick Willis, seven-time Pro Bowler, and you are listening to Jim on Base. Let's go!
Welcome back to another episode of the Jim on Base Show. For today's very special guest, we have on someone who played 8 seasons in the NFL. He was a 7-time Pro Bowler, definitely one of the best linebackers of all time, and he's in the 49ers Hall of Fame. The number 52. Please welcome the great Patrick Willis. Pat, how are you?
Doing well, Jim. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I had to wonder, when your name's Patrick, do people call you Pat, Patrick? Do they ever call you Patty?
Well, it depends. It depends. Some of my family that knows me, also some of my family, most of my family growing up that I grew up with, they call me Boss. Like that was like my nickname. Most of
Okay.
us go by our nickname before we go by our first names. But then, if you've been my friend for a while, you usually shorten it to Pat. And if you don't, if you just see me every now and then, usually just call me Patrick. So if I hear one of those three names, I know kind of where you stand a little bit.
Yeah, I'll call you Patrick then. I don't want to get sacked, so.
No, sounds good.
Well, as you know,
What
we're in
about
the.
yourself? What about yourself? Or are you just straight Jim, or is it Jimmy?
Oh,
Like,
so my real name, I forgot to tell you, is actually Ryan. So when I
oh,
started this
oh,
show, I didn't want friends and people at work to make fun of me in case
mhm.
that didn't work out. So I called it Jim on Base as like a fun alias. And
Man, I knew that. I knew you. I'm sorry. Yeah, yeah.
no, it's all good. Yeah, so people just call me Ryan. No one really
Right.
does the Rye or anything like that.
I got you. Ron, it is.
Well, as you know, it is the holidays. So how was your Christmas?
It was really well. It was really well. I was able to get back to Tennessee and spend it with family. And so, during my playing years, I wasn't always able to get back on the holidays. So now that I've been retired, I'm able to do that from time to time, which really feels good. So it was a good
Yeah.
Christmas.
And do you have kids? I thought maybe I've seen like some daughters, it looks like, in your social
Mhm.
media.
So no kids of my own yet. Just all nieces at the moment, and so they kind of I get to be that fun uncle, and they keep me cool. Actually, it's pretty cool. This past, I even though I didn't get to see all of them, all eight of them, I was able to see most of them, and it was a thrill because here I am now, being that older uncle at 37 years old, and they're 9 and 8, 9, 8, and it's like 11. And then it goes down. I think the youngest is she is 3, and so two of them fell in love with playing PS5, and just watching them go at it. I mean, it made me smile because I mean when I was that young and all in the video games like that. So yeah. No kids of my own yet. Just the cool uncle.
Oh yeah, there we go. So do you play them in the video games like the headsets and all that or?
So we were playing. What was the game was Injustice, so something like a Mortal Kombat game, but it's with the Justice League characters and whatnot. And so they was going back and forth, and then all of a sudden, I was like, let me sit down and play one of them. And so I played one of my nieces, and she actually beat me or whatnot. And I looked at her, the only thing that I could do was give him a high five and let them know good job. And then we go at it again, and so it's pretty cool playing against them.
Yeah, it is fun. Well, do you have any New Year's Eve plans coming up then, or are you being laid back about it?
Yeah, at the moment, I've been invited to a few places. One in particular, a friend of mine, a friend, brother, teammate, uh, Michael Orr,
Okay.
who I played football with at Ole Miss. He's actually having a New Year's party, and so I think I may end up going to that and bringing New Year's there. So.
Nice.
So we're gonna see. We got a couple of days. A lot happened in 2 days, but as of now, that might be the go-to. So
Yeah, I love New Year's because that's the one day of the year I can wear a tuxedo, you know?
yeah, yeah. You got to dress up a little bit. That's
Yeah,
that's uh, that's a cool thing. I got a little bit. I don't have a tuxedo, but I got some nice kicks and nice little coat that I'm looking forward to wearing. So,
there we go. Well, now that
what
you've
about
been,
yourself?
yeah, I'm going to Las Vegas with some friends. I'm not a big
Nice.
Vegas guy, but we're seeing the Killers. I don't know if you listen to them. They're a rock band. They're actually from Las Vegas, and then
Okay.
And actually, you'd appreciate this. We're going to the Raider Niner game on the
Yeah,
first.
yeah,
So
yeah. Okay, I was just about to ask, so where you gonna check it out? I most definitely had thought about it. I got some friends, a lot of friends that are going out there. I got a good friend who actually lives out there, and he was like, "Man, are you gonna try to go to it?" And at first I was like, "Yeah," I was lightweight thinking about it, but then I was like, "Nah, it's gonna be too." I know as soon as I get out there, a lot of people will start like hitting you up, and they want to see you like come through here, and that
yeah.
starts weighing on me, and I feel like I can't really just enjoy just being. And so I say, you know what, I might just, I'm gonna root them on from the TV. So
I was gonna say you could be my bodyguard because I don't know if I'm gonna live, going to that game.
no, it's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a good time for sure. I don't, I do, I have been to the stadium. I forget what they call it, Legion. No,
Yeah, I
I
think
don't.
it's Allegiant, right?
Oh, okay, okay, yeah. All right. I was like, man, don't let me say that name and mess it up. But yeah, I've been there to a couple games now. I went to a Raiders game, and I also went to a football game that I'm sorry, a college football game that they played that was played there. So it's pretty nice stadium. But anytime the Raiders fan and Niners fan get together, back Candlestick days, man, they used to go ham. I don't know if it'd be that crazy now, but yeah, I just hope they get the win. That's all they need to do: get that win and get on up out of there.
Yeah, they might be angry now. They're benching Derek Carr, right? So it's gonna be an interesting scene.
Yeah, yeah, that's that when I heard that, it kind of made me wonder a little bit, like, man, like, why would they bench him now out of all, like,
Yeah.
especially against, the Niners, against that team that then right away it hit me. Yeah, they looking for an exit plan. I don't think they want to take any chances and get them all dinked up or messed up in any kind of way. And so it makes sense or whatnot. But yeah, I know he's a competitor, and I know it never feels, knock on wood, feels good to, yeah, be in the way in which they are saying it, benched, as if your production level is not up to par. Someone
Mhm.
such as this, been in the game for a while, has given it all he has. I'm sure it's not a very good moment, but I feel like he's a great from afar. It seems like he's a great teammate, and
Mhm.
so I'm sure he'll handle it well and understand the bigger picture. So
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, you can tell he's a great guy. So he'll get through it.
yeah, yeah.
So it sounds like you still keep up with NFL games. Like, is that something you still enjoy watching? Because I know some guys are different about it. Once they retire, maybe it's hard to watch.
Yeah, Ron, man, let me tell you, it was my first few years. I didn't watch no football at all. Like
Mm.
I didn't want to look at it. Didn't want to be around it. I mean, it wasn't so much. It wasn't so much at the game. It was more so because I'd understood and I'd seen it so many other times too that if you don't let go of it, it's like going back to an ex. Before you know it, you find yourself, thinking their feelings are what they are, and there's a reason why you made a decision, or things are the way that they are for a reason. So, with that being said, I really try to focus on looking ahead and trying to move on, but also at the same time understanding too that football has been great to me, was great to me, has been great, and opened up a lot of doors and pathways. And
Mm.
so it's a part of me that I can never just exclude for the reasons that sometimes like pop about. But yeah, but now and over the last couple years, I can say I really been able to watch it and just to, appreciate it as I once did before I played it, but then also to have played it and to not just play it, but to leave a mark on the
Mm.
game a little bit, to be able to smile and have that appreciation. It really feels really grateful, man. Really grateful.
Yeah, so
So,
many great memories through your career, and it's nice to know you can turn the game on now. And like you said, moving forward, you're still looking good. So, what's the fitness
uh,
routine like? I saw you posted a video yesterday on Instagram of you working out on the beach, and you're getting it in.
mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was part of it's one of those things where you, how you said, I have appreciation for the body, and how artful it can be. And and nowadays, the one thing that is show it off, show it off, show it off. And for me, it only feels just authentic and just super legit when you have like a amazing cause. And and that right there was I'm ambassador for Nirvana Water.
Mm.
And it was actually a little photo shoot for the ambassador, for doing some ambassador role for them. And so it actually turned out pretty well. I was like, okay, caught me at a great time. That's when you at a now, especially at that moment, I was like, every single day leading up to it and whatnot. And I didn't. They just kind of happened. It was kind of like a last minute photo shoot, but it kind of brings me back into the motto, stay ready so you don't have to get ready or
Yeah.
whatnot. So
So are
that's
you
kind of how I try to go about it.
were you feeling good then overall the body like after playing the NFL? Because
um, yeah, I do. I feel pretty good. There are. I don't know if it's just part of getting older. Um, but I do have like the wear and tear that I feel at times or not. Especially I get to cranking it up too much. I realize just how much maintenance it took to play the game. Like when we was playing, your massages 2 to 3 times, a week. Your chiropractor, almost like once or twice a week. And now, you still every now and then turn up the weight room, but I'm not getting the massages 2 or 3 times a week and chiropractor 2 or 3 times a week. So my body will be like, hey, you know what you got going on now? Like, find a happy medium. And so I try to do that, but I have to do something because I have learned that the body is made to move. And so if you don't do nothing, man, you become stale, and then everything else starts, crumbling. And we don't want that. So just trying to stay active.
yeah, I got into the resistance bands during the lockdown,
Mm, there
and
you
that
go.
yeah, because I know I mean during the combine I think you racked out 225 on the bench press, like 22 reps. So I know you got
Yeah,
that
yeah,
strength in you.
man. You know what? That's actually not in my. That's actually That's funny you say that because I really. There's some guys like, say for instance, Navarro. His man, like his arms are a little bit. I don't want to say shorter than mine, but his arms are a little bit more stockier. But it appears to be like his arms are shorter. But I always say like, man, that's how y'all can throw up so much weight. Whereas for me, like I try to, like, repetition wise, like I try to build that endurance, but like super strength wise, like I'm not gonna get on. I've yet to do fourth place. I've always wanted to, and thought maybe when I was younger, like I was going to do it at one point in time when I was at my just feel like I was just at my super strongest. Then I tried fourth place, and I feel like Zeus or somebody threw a lightning bolt through my body, and I just remember being like, "Man, get this off me!" like no way, So I think the most I ever done was 395 or 398.
Nice.
So I haven't gotten fourth place, but back to what you were saying, I have now. You always going to have that work that brute strength workout for brute force that you need, like instead to take on those 300-pound linebackers, linemen or whatnot, and take on those fullbacks. But now I am all about the resistant bands and really just what's it called, calisthenics.
Yeah,
Yeah, like that kind of movement, and just want to be. My biggest thing is just being solid and
you got to look good.
limber, yeah, and look good. Now
Yeah.
what I'm saying, like, and feel good. So I think as Dion said, you look good, you feel good, you
Yep.
play good. So
Yeah.
I like that motto.
One thing too I've noticed about you, you have a lot of tattoos. So
Mm.
what was your first one?
My first one was actually it was on my right arm. I couldn't get it till I was 18. I never forget my guardian said, you can get all the tattoos you want, but you have to wait till you get 18 and then you can do what you like. And I respected that. And so at 18, when I got to college, some of the other cats, they were getting their first ones and they came back, and I was like, you know what? I think this is it. I think this is the moment. So I actually got prayer hands with Luke 137,
Hmm.
and it says, "For nothing is impossible with God," and yeah, with the prayer hands. And so that's kind of always been my not always kind of been, but that is my core strength, knowing that like, I can try to do a lot of things, but without that greatest strength, that high power, however you want to call it or whatnot, I wouldn't be able to do the things that I'm
Mm.
able to do, I feel like. So yeah, that was my first one. And then I'm kind of asymmetric, I think. Asymmetric it is, where
Yeah.
both you gotta have like the equal. So then I had to get one right on. I had to get another one right on this arm in the same spot, because I couldn't get one here and then get one up there. 'Cause I feel like it would be off, and so yeah, that was my other one. So yeah, that was my first tattoo at 18.
Oh, nice. Are you any other ones in the works? Like when you do get in the NFL Hall of Fame, are you gonna have any Hall of Fame related tats, or are you not into that type stuff?
Yeah, now, I honestly, the tattoo, I can honestly say every tattoo that I do have, it is a tattoo that has significant value, meaning that it wasn't just, one day I'm like, oh, that look like a nice turtle. Let me just get it on me just to get it on me. Like, it was like, no, it had to be something that hit me in my heart or my core. And I was like, man, this is something that, whether I'm old, wrinkled, it's always going to be able to have value and stand the test of time, like mythology.
Yeah.
And so I said to say, now I won't lie though, that needle, the last one I got it's been a little while since I've gotten my last tattoo. And that needle kind of was stinging a whole lot more than it did when I was a little bit younger, where I was like, go ahead, go ahead. And I can, now I'm like, God, no, man, you're not done yet. Like, no, we just getting done with the outline. I'm like, wait a minute, for real? So you got to do all the fading? I'm like, oh man, I think I might be on the tattoo phase. So yeah, we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Well, that's funny. And another thing that I've noticed about you on your Instagram, you've done some Instagram lives, and I think you've been in the kitchen before, right? Cooking and
Mhm,
stuff.
mhm,
So,
mhm.
yeah, I was wondering where you get your recipes. Do you go online, or is there any family recipes, or?
Yeah, man, for shout out to my grandma, shout out to my pops. But they were growing up, man. My grandmother, she could cook. I mean, from scratch. She could whip up anything and everything. And so just growing up eating her food or whatnot, just like watching her do her thing going down. I'm like, well, you don't use no measuring cup. She's like, nah, baby, just a pinch of this and a pinch of that and a little this and a little that, and it would turn out amazing. And so then my dad, and my dad being from my grandmother, um, he, I guess he learned the cooking and stuff too. And so I just kind of, learned from him a little bit. And then as I got a little older, I began to whip up some things a little bit or whatnot. And so then I got to college, and it was one of the things where it's like, man, I couldn't really afford to be eating out all the time like that. So you go buy a little bit of stuff or whatnot. And I mean, we did have a cafeteria, like, football cafeteria, but at home, you're gonna have a little bit of something. So then my roommate would take turns. He knew how to cook a little bit, and so so now it's just a matter of like, no, I tell you, I keep it real simple. I mean, I used to cook like lasagna. I mean, I'm sure I
Mm.
still could. It just, man, it just takes so much time now, and I'm like, man, I do not want to take all this time to make all this. I just want to keep it simple, get to the point, and that's it. So no, so I no family recipe that's off the top of my head that I know of. But there's a hot sauce. Like my family do love making barbecue sauce, and my
Mm.
uncles swear up and down that they can make better barbecue sauce than my grandmother. And I think now they can only say that because she's passed on now, and so I guess we'll let them go at it. But when she was still, I'm like, nah, yeah, grandmama still got this. So, but no, that's about it. What about yourself? You cook it all?
I dabble a little bit. I've been getting into like at work, the steak and Caesar. So you make the Caesar dressing from scratch. So
Hmm.
I like getting that down. And then I just look online whenever I think of something. And there's
Mm-hmm.
usually some decent websites out there, and it's not as hard as it seems. As long as you can read, you can pretty much
Yeah.
cook, right? So
You're
that's what I've learned.
right. No, you're right about that. No, it's cooking is unique, man. It's like one of them things where, again, it's like anything. You have the surface level cookers, and it works, but then you have
Yeah.
those that cook from the soul, and that's what they just love to do. They feel like, if I can just cook this food for you, you're gonna love it. Like, and that's those are the ones that they cook from the soul, and then you have the ones that are like, hey, I'm cooking some food. You can have some if you want some. You can eat it. You don't like, like I said. Then you have those ones like my grandmother doing this. Like that's her love language. I feel like they cook and so. But no, I trying to think nowadays, man. Everybody pretty much a chef. I feel like you turn on social media and you
Yeah.
see like people like whipping up. I mean, it be looking good too, though. I won't lie. I'm like, man, I just want. But we always have this thing though. Where we say, all right, it may look good, but what it tastes like.
Yeah, that's what people say to me. Like, oh, it looks good. I'm like, have you eaten it yet?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
your grandma, she also told you about Jesus, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My grandmother was she was probably like most of my grandmother's what am I trying to say? She was the matriarch of the family. And when it came to church, like she raised all of us. I mean, from grandkids to her kids, like you're gonna be in the church. Like it wasn't you on Sundays, like pretty much 5 days a week. We're gonna be in the church, and so. But yeah, and I'm grateful because just having something to ground yourself to. Now, as I've gotten older, it really it and to each his own. But for me, I've found it when I need to, snap back or need to just find that ground. Like some people go home, some people go on a hike, like I said, there's different ways to find that ground. But she was always that one, and she was like, "Baby, God always, He's always with you. He's always watching, even when it's tough." And Lord knows, like I had a lot of tough times, and there was times when you look around, you look to your right, your left, you didn't see nobody around you, but you felt this presence that was. I felt this presence that was always with me, even when I wasn't always aware of it. And so, with that, I'm forever grateful that she instilled that. And I never forget going to college. I think I was going off to college. Going off to Ole Miss. I went to school early that summer. So I went to summer school. And I never forget, I was so excited. And I ran up to my grandmother's, drove up to my grandmama, and I was excited and I was a little sad. I was excited because for so long since I was, you know, freshman, sophomore in high school, I was like, man, like I just want to, I want to go to college too. And I want to go to college. I want to, get up out of this town and go do something, and I was so excited. But at the same time, you grew up, your siblings, I'm the oldest, and my grandmother, and I remember going up there, and she happened to be on the front porch. So I drive up there, and she's sitting out. It's hot. It's May, like middle of May or something like that. It is May 23rd or
Mm.
something like that. She's on the front porch, and I said, "Grandma, Grandma." And she's like, "What, baby?" Like that. And I said, "Grandma, I'm getting ready to go. I'm about to leave. I'm about to leave." She's like, "Where you going?" I said, "I'm going off to college." I know I was like it was like a movie or something. I was like, "I'm going off to college," and even though it was 2 hours away, I felt. I mean, I know, man, that 2 hours away felt like infinity away because growing up, we never really,
Mm.
15 minutes or 12, 10 minutes. That was, about as far, maybe 45 minutes to the next town or something, but. So yes, long story short, she says to me as I'm ready to leave, she was kind of just puzzled, she's like, "Okay, baby, like you going off to school." Nobody in my family had really went off to school. It's always like, you graduate, you go into the workforce. So this is something that you kind of telling her, and it's like, "All right, baby, well, okay." She's like, "Well, whatever you do, just always keep your hand in God's hand."
Mm.
And I just remember being like, "Okay, grandma." It's like one of the things where somebody say something to you and you really don't understand the magnitude of it. But then Lord knows you get to college, and college is everything, man. It's everything and more. And so again, I'm really grateful that she was that lady, and I still try to hold on to it
Mm.
as much as I can. So
That's a special story and bond you had. And you talk about driving up to the porch. And, I've seen some footage of you driving a Jeep Wrangler. So do you still
oh,
have it? Because I got a Wrangler too. I was wondering if you had
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. No, no, I don't have that Jeep. I don't have that green Jeep that was in that video. Now, actually, I have a couple cars, but
Okay.
I'm actually currently at the moment driving the Bronco.
Oh, nice.
So the newer, the newer one,
That looks
the
like a
wide.
Jeep, right?
Yeah. It really, man, that's one thing I have learned. All these frames and these bodies or whatnot. When you take the names off, I'm like, wait a minute, that car looked kind of like that car,
Yeah.
and that car kind of like that car. They just slapped the different names on them. But I mean, but I actually do like it. I even though I was a Jeep person, I almost might like the Bronco maybe just a tad better than
Oh, okay.
the Jeep, just a little bit more. Cause
Why
I
though?
do like it drives. I guess the Jeep drives like real boxy, like more like a. It drives a little bit more boxy and a little bit more heavier. Like I feel like, and then with the Bronco I have, it really, man, the power, like the ones the old Jeeps I had, they had the V4 with the
Mm-hmm.
big O, and I had like the tires, and so it's like you get on it, and it's like, man, you ain't really going nowhere. It's like you just.
Yeah.
Well, in this right here, I got the 37s on and whatnot, and it gets on down the highway and gets good. But that, again, it could be just a newer model, the V6 with the twin turbo type of feel to it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I like it though.
What color is yours?
Mine is gray,
Okay.
gray.
I think
Yeah.
I've seen that color. Is that like the stock one?
Yeah, it's stock with it comes with it's stock, but it has like a bigger setup of the tires. It's like
Okay.
again, it's called a wide track, but comes with the 37 like inch tire, 22 or with 37 or something like that. And so it's pretty nice. It's not bad at all.
Yeah.
I actually like driving it, but I'm still a truck guy at heart.
Mm.
So I have a Raptor
Oh,
as well.
nice.
So
There you go.
yeah, I gotta have the truck, even though I don't drive it as hardcore, as I thought I would. It's just something about it. The internal side of me is like, man, you from the South, you from the country, you gotta have a truck,
Yeah.
So,
That's funny. Um,
yeah.
well, I've had some friends of yours on the show. Vernon Davis, as you know, he's into
Oh,
acting
okay.
now.
Yes,
Jerry
sir.
Rice, yeah, he's got
Okay.
the goat fuel, and
Hmm,
then
hmm.
you have your own things going on. You have your foundation, the Winker's Mind, and that
Yes,
sounds
sir.
like a good foundation where it empowers the youth, right, to help transform the community. So I wanted you to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So the Winkers Mind Youth Fund Foundation is a branch off the Winkers Mind, which is I call it the Winkers Mind is like it's the headquarters that represents every man and woman is a star, and it just takes a little bit of pouring into whether it's physically and or mentally to bring that out. And so the Winkers Mind Youth Fund Foundation is um, it's a charity or it's an organization that kind of just helps empower, like I said, helps empower the youth through fitness
Mm.
and through fitness activities. And so, with that being said, it's some machines that I've been able to do two now. One from my hometown, and then a collaboration with Eric Reed in his hometown
Oh,
in his town of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, and so it's been pretty cool. It's even though I'm learning that it takes a while to build up anything, and so it's been a process, but it's been pretty cool. So looking forward to keeping them going and hopefully doing some more collaborations with some other guys in their areas and areas that need them. So
hmm. Yeah, it's a great program. I know you have it on your social media. There's a website as well, and I'm gonna put that in the bio, the link and everything to help get the word out. And I know you also have Universe 52, right? And that helps give some
yes,
cool experiences for fans, right?
yeah. So Universe 52 is I'm excited about Universe 52. I'm gonna state it as being a fan base um, project that's surrounded by that's that's surrounded by uh, that come by way of NFTs. So I
Okay.
don't want to say NFT because when people hear NFT right away, they just get turned off and they're like, nobody want just to buy some piece of art. But it's not just an NFT project. This right here is it's about the fans. It's about being able to give back to those who have supported me through my journey. And now, with the new technology world, with the whole Web3, crypto, all of that. I like to tell people like this is one way that you can get involved in the whole crypto world without having to, go into it through, other major ways. This is a way that you can, own some art that you like of someone that you have watched play that you admire. And again, you can get into the whole crypto world through being a part of Universe 52. But yeah, I'm excited for it. We have some amazing art that was done by Rob Pryor Studios, who have worked on some Marvel and DC
Mm-hmm.
comics, and I'm a big Marvel and DC and mythology guy, and so to have them to do the art, it's really special, and it's pretty nice. If you haven't been able to check any of it out yet, please do.
Okay. Yeah. Again, I'll put that in the link in the bio, and I think there's a website for it too, right? I was trying to get more
Oh
info
yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah. Universe52.com. And what's even more, and so I also want to say too, Ryan, I want the fans to know that this is it's not just about the art, it's about also creating avenues that we can link up and be able to enjoy, like I said, one-on-one times, whether it be online or whether it be in person. We've already done one watch party before. We had a few come out or whatnot, and we're looking forward in the new year to doing a lot more. Um, yeah, a lot more community based fun projects or whatnot. So stay tuned. A lot of fun things are coming up.
Yeah, it sounds great. And you talked about doing a Winker's Mind event in Brewston, Tennessee, where you grew up. And I looked it up on Wikipedia, and you were the notable person listed. You are the guy from
Uh,
Brewston.
yeah, 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 yeah. We done it about two. Actually, it was not this December, but last December was when we put one in my hometown.
Mm. And I know you have, quite the incredible story growing up. You've spoken about it before, raising your siblings. And I remember one thing that stuck with me. You mentioned how you didn't have running water until you're 8 years old. And it just
Mhm.
made me think about, going to the NFL and having difficulties with that, most likely adjusting. Did that make it an easier transition or give you some perspective, I guess, going through that as a young
Uh,
person?
yeah, when I look back on life now, when I was younger and I spoke on it, you're looking at it more. I kind of, I don't want to use the word, I don't want to use the word victim because I never wanted to feel like I was a victim. I always felt like it was an opportunity to show that anything is possible. And with that being said, um, man, growing up was it was
Mm.
very humbling, and through the humbleness, it taught me a lot. And now that I'm older, 37 years old, I look back on my life and I smile. I smile now because I'm like, Lord, if it wasn't for me going through those things and getting through them, I didn't. In a time like today, that and with all this going on, it appears that man, it appears like the world is wilder than it's ever been, and yet
Mm.
I feel like deep in my core, in my heart, and in my mind, I am probably stronger than I've ever been, and for that, that's coming from someone who's went through college ball, and again, it's because it's so much more than just a physical thing that I'm speaking about, but it's all encompassed together. So yeah, before I start rambling.
Well, I know you had some ups and downs with your dad through the years growing up and whatnot. Have you been able to have a improved relationship, I guess, through the
Yeah,
years,
yeah,
or?
yeah. When I again as I look back, one of the things that I've had to learn and overcome and realize that we all have our journey here on this earth, and we all will go through the things that we will go through. And my mom and dad was young once like me. and I was, younger once, and now I'm at the middle age, and I've had life too, and I'm not a perfect being. I try to do things well, but I'm not perfect. I have my shortcomings, here and there. And so, if I were to be judged, and never forgiven for, those short deeds, or those short, shortcomings, I guess you would say, or whatnot, then, I it wouldn't be any fun. And so I guess what I'm saying, I learned and being able to see beyond, like, I was a victim or this happened to me. Um, but being able to see through beyond it and realize, like, man, they were dealing with the things that they were dealing with and, fighting with. And just as I've, had my own, it's been able to allow me to be able to see, like, to see the bigger picture. And at the end of the day, rain, sleet, or shine. Um, I once heard this. I remember this song that said "Love is the answer." I don't know who sang. It's an older song, but I remember hearing it when I was a kid growing up. Love is the answer. I believe it's something. I don't know who sings that, but they're absolutely right.
Mm.
And I mean, and so yeah. Me and my pops has been able to now. We be present. We're able to be present, and I'm grateful for that. My mom, God rest her soul, she passed a little while ago
Mm.
now, and so, but right at that moment, right a little bit before she passed, we were able to begin to build that kind of relationship that I was shucks, I was super like thrilled, and I was like, man, finally gonna have a chance to really possibly, like, have that kind of connection that maybe, I didn't feel like I had as much, or didn't have growing up, and then boom, she ended up
Mm.
passing on. And so so yeah, so but I'm man, needless to say, there's when you looking outside myself, understanding what others have been through, I'm just, grateful to be where I am today and still standing. And like I said, just, feeling strong for
Yeah.
the most part. So,
Well, it's good to see that you're doing well, and as you know, that's obviously a powerful story, and you've been through a lot. And I know that you got your degree in criminal justice at Ole Miss, right? And I've heard that
mhm.
you were interested, at least at the time, of getting into law enforcement. Is that something you're still into? Because
Man, right. I now it's almost like it's like one of the things where I'm really how do you say it? Most people who get a degree, they hardly ever, study the degree that they got the degree in.
yeah.
But with that being said, I really am fond to law enforcement. I mean, fond to just law in general, and then just always wanted to be a person to serve and protect.
Mm.
Again, serve and protect. And part of what I've seen, over the last, little bit of time, kind of almost wanted to kind of almost made me want to look away from it because I felt like I didn't want to be a part of, something that was coming off as as everything was, and the brutality and the police brutality that was happening throughout. And so I just like, man, you know what? I was thinking of it more, but then as I began to think of it even more, I remember saying to myself that um, I was, as fond as I was of the police, I was I was always more fond of the FBI and detectives because I grew up loving Ben Matlock and Columbo. And I don't know if that's because my grandmother and my Ben Matlock, Columbo, and what was it? Yeah, Ben Matlock and Columbo were my favorite two. And I don't know if that was because my granddad and my grandmother, but I just remember being like, man, I don't want to be giving somebody tickets. I want to, if you've done something, then I won't feel bad because, like if you didn't do nothing, then let me do my work. And if you innocent, then you got nothing to worry about
Yeah.
it. But if you did, then I'm gonna get you. Like, opposed to the, giving somebody a ticket. I feel like I'd be too nice to do that. But so yeah, so I never like to say no, but anything is possible. It's everything's possible.
Well, have you met Shaquille O'Neal? Because I know he's like a volunteer cop or something in his area. So I figured maybe you
Hmm.
guys could be a duo. I wouldn't want to mess with you guys.
I did. I remember. I did hear about Shaq uh, I don't know what's it called. He's a
I think he's like a volunteer.
volunteer.
Yeah, something like that.
Mm-hmm. I actually so I do have good friends. I do have some friends who are in the police force, and I've talked to them a couple of times. They told me numerous of times, like, man, if you ever want to get out and ride with us, and
Yeah, like
we'll
right
take you
along.
out. Yeah, ride along. I was like, man, like, I said, hey, no, maybe I was like, maybe I don't, because what I have learned is just like when it comes to coaching, there are different avenues in which you can, be involved in these things. Like I said, whether it's voluntary, whether it's actually being on the force, whether it's having another way. And I've thought about, man, what better way to do, like, do they do like any kind of intramurals? Do they do like training of some sort, like where we can, like, if they're gonna do obstacle course, maybe I can come in and, like,
Mm,
do a week with them or something,
yeah.
something of that type of nature without necessarily having to get in. I don't know, maybe something that could have to do with me still enjoying this me time. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
I call it me time, but yeah, with that having to be absolutely, just committed into something. But we shall see.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk a little bit about draft day really quick. You were drafted in
Mhm.
2007. You were the 11th pick overall in the first round. Did you know it would be San Francisco or have any inkling about it?
Absolutely not one inkling at all. If anything, I was, true story, Ryan, on draft day. My prayer on draft day. So during the Senior Bowl, I played in the Senior Bowl my senior year, and San Fran was my team. Was the team I was? I'm sorry, San Fran coaches was the coaches for the South, and I don't know who the other team coaches was, but I had them. And the whole week we was there in Mobile, Alabama, they didn't bring me in for an interview or anything, which I was okay with because Coach Singletary was a linebacker coach. And when I tell you, Ryan, at that, man, if people could go back and watch that week of practice and watch the linebackers and see how rough it was, but then to see like the one or two like guys who stood like that test of time, I was one of them. I never forget, man, saying to myself, like, man, I think this coach is crazy. Like I thought Coach Orgeron was wow. I mean, shout out to Coach Orgeron, like heck of a coach. I love his enthusiasm for the game. But man, Coach Singletary, maybe he prepped me for Coach Singletary because Coach Singletary like killed us that week, and I never forget on draft day saying, "Man, Lord, I don't know who's interested in me. I don't know who's not who really want me." I said, but I just want to go somewhere where I can make it my home. I said, I just want to go somewhere where I can play the best football I can play. I can make it my home. I can drive my cars without the weather being all bad and
Mm.
messy and rainy like I grew up in. And I was like, and I said, I don't want to deal with no bag drills, and I don't want to deal with no crazy taxes. That was kind of, bro. That was kind of like some of my prayer and whatnot. And all of a sudden, I get the call. My phone was ringing, and people were calling me all morning and stuff. But I had at the time I had the Sprint phone, and it would show you the state that was calling. Well, I was a little naive at the time. I was thinking if a number was going to show up from San Fran, it'd be SF and not CA. And so my phone is showing CA. It was like ringing CA, like, because my agent had just called me. He had just called me like right after 10, right around 9. He said, "Hey, I just want to let you know you might be." He said, "Get ready because you might be getting picked like somewhere between, anywhere after 10, somewhere 11 or 15." I was like, when he said that, out of my heart, I was like, what? Because, man, it's a long story. Because going into the draft was all the naysayers and all the, like, he's a fifth best middle linebacker. He's not this, he's not that, like all this stuff. And I never forget when I heard all that going into getting ready for the draft. I remember saying, like, man, they don't know my heart. They don't know who they talking about. I said, when this is all said and done, I'm gonna be the first linebacker taken. And man, when San Fran, when I almost didn't pick up that phone, but then when I was like, you know what, let me just pick it up. And whoever it is, I'm gonna be like, hey man, why you calling me right now? I'm gonna call you back. Like, no, the draft going on. And I heard this voice. I picked it up. Hello, Pat, and I just went. And my family said they knew that's when, when you got silent, what I'm saying? That's when they knew. Like, so on real time on YouTube, when it shows like on real time on the draft and all that stuff, that was actually real time. That wasn't
Wow.
hey, we're gonna fake this and fake
Yeah.
that. Everything happened real time. And so no, I didn't know San Fran was interested. I hated San Fran growing up. I was a Cowboys fan growing up, and I really wanted to go to a 3-4 because that's what defense I played. And feel like I had success in coming out of my last 2 years of college, and so I wanted to go to something where I feel like I could pick up right away and I could just go at it. And I get drafted to the 49ers, and they put me at the middle linebacker position. I got Coach Singletary. Uh, man, it was just, I mean, that I'm telling you, man, my life is I'm grateful. No matter how ugly, bad, and indifferent like it look, man, that there's no I can't make these stories up. Like, this is real like stuff. Like, I get drafted there, and my first day was hell. Like, to the point to where I'm like, man, like, this they gonna cut me. Like, why? First of all, why'd y'all even draft me? I didn't know y'all was even interested in me. Like, I had 12 visits, and not one visit did y'all bring me in on and talk to me and let me know that y'all were interested in me, and y'all wanted me to play in this 3-4 because I didn't want to have anything to do with no 3-4s because my mind at the time was like, man, I don't think 3-4 guys do is have to take on these big old guards, and that ain't me. I don't want to be doing that. Like, I want to find my gap and use speed and go, and they draft me, and man, and 8 years later, I'm grateful
Yeah.
for, each and every one, the highs and the lows. So
Well, you had such a great first season too for being a rookie, a Pro Bowler. You had 174 tackles, 2 forced fumbles. You deflected 5 passes, so that's not bad for a new guy.
mm, it's okay. Like, it's all right. I feel like I look back on it now. See, and that's the thing. Like, and so let me not go. Let me not do that to myself because because what I didn't want to do, and I learned this after my rookie year. I said, man, if you're not careful, you will allow them to do what I saw them do to some of the other people. Like, they compare, and next thing you know, somebody feel like they're not worthy or wasn't worthy because they didn't have the statistics or they didn't win this or win that. And I say, you know what, y'all not gonna do that to me. You know where I come from, how I got here, like, to be here, to go through it. Like, man, there's no way I would let anyone take that away from me because I didn't have this or didn't have that. So I say, I'm not going to allow no statistic measures to
Mm.
measure up my game. And so I'll go back to what you said about the rookie. I was like, when I look at it, I'm like, man, it'd been nice to have more interceptions, have more of this, have more of that. But for what it's worth, I played each snap with everything I had, and I can honestly say I feel like I got better each year, and that was always my focus, was to just be better than I was the year before. And so, yeah. So with that being said, that's one thing when I look back over my athletic career, I can say that I feel like I got better each year from high school. Because when I look back, I'm like, man, I look back, I'm like, well, what you had heart. You had heart because and I had will, but as far as just looking like a linebacker and looking like this, no, everything I became, I had to work to become it, and that's why when I retired, when I had retired, I was telling people, I was like, man, outside of my feet, like, it's on my feet felt like it was like dull tires that you were saying, hey, go on the racetrack and race, and people don't know why you skidding all over the place, and everybody else is just laughing and driving, and you skyding, and still yet you still up in the race or whatnot, but yet it's taking so much. And so when I said in my press conference when I was like, I'm freaking I'm tired. Like, I am tired or whatnot. It's because, like, I just feel like the journey, the road, I had given each day and everything I had or whatnot. And I told myself one day when that time comes, I want to be able to walk away and not feel like, I was trying to preserve
Mm.
so I could, have longer this and longer that. No, I just gave everything I had, and and what you see is that's what I was able to give you, and
Yeah.
hope that it was decent enough to, you know, that. And again, my whole thing was, man, you bring back so many memories right now. My whole thing was, I didn't want to get caught up in other people's statistic measures. However, if one person can remember one day when they're talking about linebackers, they're talking about defensive players, and one person, just one person says, "Man, do you guys remember that Patrick Willis kid, that Patrick Willis linebacker for San Fran or whomever?" Like, man, that kid could that fella could play. As long as one person said that to me, that was, man. I promise you, that's how simple I kept it to myself. And so when
Mhm.
people like, how do you feel satisfied? You didn't do this and you didn't do that. You could. I'm like, listen, see, you trying to put all what you want on me. I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm wiser than that. Like, no,
Mhm.
I'm grateful, man. I
Yeah.
am. And so again, saying that not to say that, yeah, there are not some things that, you wish you could have capitalized on and whatnot, but yeah. Um, and so that's why when I guess people see me now, they look at me like I just don't get it. I'm like, because like it's not for you to get. Like I already done did it, and what I learned is if you're not careful, you can get stuck in what you've already done and never be able to get
Mhm.
out of it to go do something else. And so that was one of my reasons why after I retired, I was like, man, like I don't want to stay here and not be able to give myself the fortitude to, go home because I know I can always, tap into that and,
Mhm.
come to it and have something to do with it. But,
Yeah.
there's more to it. So yeah.
Well, speaking of, your first year and growing and having your career, I had Jim McMahon on recently, and he made an interesting point. He said the biggest jump for him was actually from high school to college as opposed to college to the NFL. I was wondering if that stands true for you.
Uh, yes. Yes. I can say that it took me a little bit longer to understand what was going on. And even though it still took me a while to understand too, as I got into the league because it was just different. Still football, but my knowledge of the game. And what I say there is that the older heads told me, they said, when you come into the game when you're young, when I first got into the league, I think it was Jeff Ulbrich that said when I came because I would ask them guys, I said, hey, how do you know when it's time to retire? And they look at me like, why are you even talking like? I'm like, because it got to be a time that you got to know, like everything has an exit. So, I want to know, like, kind of give myself maybe a heads up, or how do you know? And none of them could. No, I asked all the questions. None of them could answer me questions. So I said what I said, and Jeff said, he said, well, what's going to happen, Pat, is right now your athletic ability is up here. He said your knowledge of the game is down here. He said eventually the knowledge of the game gonna start to go up and your athletic ability gonna start to go like this right here. And then but next you know, by the time you get to the end of it, your knowledge gonna be up here and your athletic ability gonna be like here or there. And I said, well, man, why would you want to go out like that? I seen guys that go out like that. And some of my favorite guys go out like that and they getting knocked all over the place, getting knocked down and just looking like little kids in a way to me. And I'm like, and I told myself as a youngster, I said, man, I don't want to go out like that. I want to go out when everything is like, man, you still legit. And it just so happened that my feet and then, man, my feet, my body and everything, the way that everything was feeling, that's when I knew. I was like, man, and it was Steve Jobs that said, those who can connect their dots can see their future. And I
Mm.
remember being like, man, like my feet, man, my head, my gut, and my heart ain't aligning like it once was when all those were aligned. It felt like man, you could just shoot. It was just a different type of play, a different type of aura. And when I started feeling all that like be dissipated, started to feel like it was get dismantled, I was like, something is talking to me. Like, and I was like, but nah, you don't want to accept it. Like, you want to like, nah, not yet, not yet, not yet. Just
Yeah.
just a little while longer, just a little while longer. But man, timing or when it's your time, like it just something. That's what I'm saying for my story, for my truth. Like, man, life for me, it doesn't work like that. It didn't work like that. It's like when it's your time to it's your time to go. You better go, or else like you can mess up other things. And so I
Yeah.
say all that. Yeah, it was just kind of one of those things. I felt it.
Well, I loved watching you play, and I describe you to like an alligator kind of coming out of the water. You just kind of pop up and snatch guys, and you had 4 sacks your first season too. So it just made me think. Do you remember who your first sack was?
Uh, I'm not gonna say it wasn't Matt Lowry, was
Oh,
it?
was
What?
uh
No, I honestly
oh, okay.
I don't even remember. Yeah, I just remember my first game was against Arizona, was against the Cardinals, and so I think it was first game was against the Cardinals, and maybe second game was against Seahawks. Well, I don't know. It was I'm not sure. I don't
Okay.
know who my first sack was.
Or is there any QBs out there that you wish you could have sacked? Like maybe Brady, is he on that list or
You know what? It would have been nice to sack Tom Brady, but it was but for me, like it just would have been nice just because. But I I man, there's nobody particularly that I would have wanted to sack that I never got a chance to sack. I feel like I was able to sack like a few of them. I will say the one moment that had me like was uh um who was it? It was Michael Vick.
Oh
We was
yeah.
playing, it's 2011. We were playing against the Eagles at the Eagles, and I never forget. Man, I saw Navarro tackle him in the open field once. I remember being like, holy crap!" I was like, "Man, that's pretty smooth." I mean, the way he like got him and whatnot, and I never forget. Man, they done like a little read, either done a read option, and he done like either a little option play, or he just ended up getting on the outside and he took off to the sideline. Man, I turned it on, went after him, and I never forget. I remember being like, I had to turn it on, like turn it up some more. Like I was on, but I had to turn it up a little bit more. And I remember being like, and when I got him, I was able to get to him with enough body to when I tackled him. It was a good tackle, and and we landed out of bounds, and so I got on. It wasn't like I just barely got him. I got him, but I remember I had to kind of tap into it a little bit, and I remember being like, wait a minute, if he this fast, man, I said, if he this fast right now, I couldn't imagine. I remember watching Michael Vick when he was in college,
Mm.
and I thought they were just watching. That's like watching Deion Sanders, where you just can't. You just like, man, God dang, like. And I remember saying to myself, I said, man, if he this fast right now, I don't know what year it was for him then, and he moving like this, I said, man, I'm so glad I didn't have to see him. I'm so glad I had to see him. Like, I bet that's how people trying to tackle Lamar Jackson right now. It could be
Yeah.
something similar, but man, yeah, Vic was one of those moments that had me like, oh, wow.
Well, speaking of fast, you had 2 interceptions in your career where you ran it back for touchdowns. So is that the most thrilling play for someone in your position?
um, yeah, yeah, I was. Look, you got me thinking. I'm like, I should have more though. I remember one time I just totally just owed and went over the ball and missed it, and I was like, man, how'd you freaking daggone do that? But anyways, yeah, I think anytime as a defender you're able to, one get the ball and any kind of turnover, interception, fumble, calls for interception, fumble, however you can get it, it's always a pleasure. But then to be able to put it in the end zone, it's even more of a big deal. And then it was even more of a big deal for me because I was in high school my senior year. I was a running back,
Mm.
and so actually I played running back and defense, and it was after my senior year. Like I said, I was yeah. Anyways, I was trying to say more, but my senior year, I played offense and defense, and I won Mr. Football. I was nominated
Mm.
first person ever in history to be nominated for both offense and defense in the same year. And so when I got to college, I was going to actually, I was recruited as an athlete. I was recruited as a linebacker coming out of high school, 3-star, just an athlete. They just had me as an athlete. And so I get to college at Ole Miss, and I tell them, I say, you know what? I think I might want to try offense too. I played tight end as well. I averaged 17.5 yards a catch playing tight end my junior year. And so I get to college. I'm like, I want to play. And I'm like, I want to play offense too and defense. I was like, well, my first day in at practice, the safety comes down and he hits the running back so hard it sounded like a freight train. And I remember being like, wait a minute. I said, man, you got guys hitting people this hard. This is my first practice. Like we was in past first, and I saw that. I said, wait a minute. I said, nah, I'm gonna stay on defense, and I'd rather hit people like that because they know how they expect you to hold on to the ball, and you got guys trying to hit you like him and like how I want to hit you or whatnot. Like I'm like, nah, that's gonna beat you up. So I didn't go down for running back drills, right? I didn't go down there to go participate in the running back drills and nothing. We get in the locker room and coach says, freshman, what was you at today? I thought you was gonna come down there and run. I thought you were gonna come down to the offensive side and do some running backs for us or whatnot. I said, you know what, coach? I thought about it, but I think I'm just gonna focus on defense. I'm just gonna put all my focus on defense, and that was the it of it. Like that was the it. Because so I said all that to say, like I wanted, like coming from high school, running the ball and all that stuff. When I got the ball in my hands in the league, it was in my mind it was all about scoring. That's the only thing. Every time I touched the ball in school, it was just you got it, score it. Like
Yeah.
you're not getting tackled, score. And so that's how it was in the league. Where man, I was always like, man, if I could ever get it on the run or get it like a tip, and I don't have to do all no juking. And I said, man, if you just let me get straight ahead, I said it's gonna be hard for somebody to catch me. Like, cause I always do. I only got caught one time when I was in high school, and I always felt if I could get a step, like I could go, and or if I had to go get you, like I could go do that too.
Well, someone you've always reminded me of. I was wondering if you're a big fan of him or if you are friends with him. Is Ray Lewis? Even when you get introduced and you kind of do the the flexing and everything, is to me it reminded like you were channeling Ray Lewis there.
Yeah, man. Ray is one of those. Ray is the shout out to Ray. Call him Mufasa because of my time. He was even though I'm fond of you know I'm fond of all players, offense and defense, and especially of the old heads like Mr. Jack, Coach Singletary, Buckets, just those guys. I mean, those guys were just. I mean, they were rough. Hate like just anybody that was rough in that time, like Deacon, like Mr. I mean, those guys were just rough. Like that's what I love. So I'm a fan. I am a fan of them. And then just growing up as a young middle age, and then to see somebody such as Ray do what he was able to do or whatnot. Like I mean, he was just ferocious in the middle. And my whole thing was I never wanted to be Ray. I never wanted to be anybody else but the best me that I could be. However, I wanted to control and have that presence such as those guys did in the middle, Mike Singletary and Ray Lewis. And so in seeing Ray, in my younger, teenage and you get to college and next thing you know, now you in the league, the same league you watch him, and now you across the field from him or whatnot. It's just surreal, and that's just like, man, it's one of those things. Sometimes people look at athletes and they say, "Why do y'all think like y'all think?" I'm like, because just the just life itself, how things just happen, whether it be in a game, whether it be like the people you come across, like Ray was just shout out to Ray for what he gave to the game, for how he impacted the game, and for all he inspired to go and be amazing linebackers. So he's most definitely one of those inspirations.
Well, you mentioned Jim Harbaugh, so or Mr. J. Do you keep in contact with him or?
Who to my who which to my gym?
Yeah,
Coach Harbaugh?
yeah. Do you keep in contact or?
Yeah, we do. We just had the homecoming this past season at the Niners. I think it was the Chiefs and Niners game, and they had the reunion. It was alumni weekend, and I think they had the 2012 team back.
Oh yeah.
And we ended up making it. We made it to the Super Bowl, but it wasn't the same as those guys that was there. They won the Super Bowl, and I've always felt that. I always felt like, man, we did bring winning back because they haven't won in a long time, but we didn't win the big thing. And so I never felt like I could just walk around and just feel like you've done something just because you made it. And so So it's always that's always very humbling. But I say to say Coach Harbaugh and Navarro and I actually was sitting on the bus going over to the game, and it was kind of just brought back, and it was kind of nostalgic because Navarro was sitting in the same seat he was sitting in, and I was sitting in the same seat I was sitting in. And then you have Coach Harbaugh 2 seats up, and he'd be like that sometimes. Well, he would never be on our bus, but just if we were on the plane or something like that, you look around, he would be somewhere right there, and it was always like, or if we're in the cafeteria, me and Bo sit down to eat, he'll somehow find a way to either be right there or right there. And so I was looking, I'm like, man, right? Maybe we'll always be connected. Like, again, I think like that. I have a photographic memory. I'm like, wait a minute, I saw this another time too. We was here, and here we are years later, 8 years later, and we sitting on the bus and we sitting in the same triangle again. So but no, coach. But no, we actually just talked the other day. He has invited me up to his program and said, "Man, you're always welcome to come up there, spend some time with the guys." And he actually has a linebacker coach, Coach George, who's on his linebacker coach staff now that I played at Ole Miss with. That I was a senior when he was a freshman, and
Mm.
when I'm listening to him talk about me, I'm like, man, that's weird. It brings back why everything that I did I did it in the way that I did because I always said one day, we're gonna look back if we live to see long enough. We're gonna look back and whether people you encounter, whether they're fans, whether they're teammates, whether they're coaches, and not every situation is gonna be ideally perfect. However, I just wanted to leave that lasting impression just in case, like if you ever meet me again, or if you ever have to speak on me, whatnot, you can always, you can speak your truth. And so I say it to say, years later, here we are now. Coach Harbaugh reaches. I'm
Mm.
sorry, the linebacker coach was talking to me. He called. He's like, "You don't remember me, huh?" He's like, "I want you to talk to my guys, but first, let me tell you, like, man, I was a freshman at Ole Miss when you was there. I saw how you practiced, how you treat the guys. Like, you treated
Mm.
me as if like I was you treated me as if I was a starter with you. You let me ride with you to practice." And he said, "You don't remember that?" So I was like, "No, but that probably would be." I would say, if you didn't have a ride, I'd be like, "Man, hop in, get in." Like I'm going. That's just how I was.
Yeah.
So yeah. So at some point, I'm gonna have to get up there and see how it goes. And who knows? There's more. Coach Harbaugh was already he said, "You should get in." He told me in the Navarro Bowl, "Y'all should get into coaching. Like y'all really." And I'm like, man. But then Navarro and I was like, man, it might be getting at that time where, might be getting time to need something to do to.
Mm.
Not want to say it like that, but we have knowledge and why not pour it out in the different ways in which we can.
Yeah.
So who knows?
You just have to get your own pair of cargo pants,
Yeah, I know, right? He was even. I wonder what he was wearing this time. This time, I don't know if he was wearing cargo pants this time, but yeah, he's a good Coach Harbaugh.
Well, I got just a couple fun questions for you, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. Uh,
Mhm.
in your time with the Niners, you had such an epic rivalry with the Seahawks. So I was wondering, just how hard is it to hear at their stadium?
Man, Ron, I'm glad you asked that question because I just spoke on this a little while ago.
Mm.
In the 2020 season, when they didn't have any fans in the stands and they had a pump in noise and
Mm.
whatnot, I remember saying to myself, I remember hearing that noise like throughout the game, like on being at home on the TV, hearing it. And I'm like, wait a minute. See, I told you, man. I'm a photographic memory, but also I don't know, I'm weird, man. I'm strange. But I'm like, wait a minute. I've heard twice in my life, or 3 times, this kind of screeching noise, but I thought it
Mm.
was like the fans that was sounding like that. But I'm like, nah, because again, it could be. I'm not. I'm just, I'm
Yeah.
just talking. But that sound at the Seahawks stadium, man, it would be so loud that it would be. It's like it would be piercing in your ear, like piercing your eardrums. And whatnot. I used to be like, so our offense used to have to have all we could practice. We used to have to. They used to put the sound out there, so all we could practice. All you hear is you can't hear nothing. But since we got
Yeah.
signals and stuff, we
Mm.
can do our signals and all that stuff and whatnot. But no, it's loud there. It's loud at LSU,
Mm.
and it's loud. And when it was loud there, Seahawks, LSU, and Auburn.
Mm.
those are three loudest places I've ever played that felt like it would just be screeching in your ear to where you had to go like you had to be
Yeah.
like close your ears a little bit. And so I'm saying that to say I don't know if it's the 12th. I think that 12th man could be that audio sound coming in that was coming in during the 2020 season. But needless to say, yeah, that stadium is one loud stadium to play in. Like if you're a away team and they really loud and crunk like they were in those days, or
Mm.
that and it only got like I don't remember being that loud like that though when it was the quote unquote I don't like calling them that, but in respect, give respect where it's due.
Yeah.
The Legion of that year, those years when they were, killing like they were and whatnot. That's when I remember it being because I don't remember it being that loud when I was, when I was super, my early years when Hasselbeck was the quarterback. And I'm sure it was
Yeah.
loud like that, but I really remember it being like ridiculous, like 2011 and 12 and 13, where you just like, come on, man, like how I hated going up there. Why I hated going up. I don't like using the word hate, but I dislike going up there. Every time we get our schedule, I look at the schedule and see if we playing them early in the season or late in the season. If we playing them late in the season, nah, it may get so cold up there. I don't know what makes it so cold. I guess they up there by the water or something, but but anyway.
Well, we could get Officer Willis to go up there and maybe make some arrests about those potential speakers.
Yeah, find out what. Yeah,
Yeah,
let me
what's really
investigate.
going on?
Yeah, let me investigate. Let me check y'all sound. Let me see what y'all got going on.
Noise ordinance.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you were known for being such a rah guy, like pumping the guys up. When did that start for you? Was it in high school, college? And do you remember your first speech, maybe, where you kind of took on that role?
Oh man, it actually didn't start going like that until because when we was younger, it was just in our little linebacker group or whatnot. We might say a couple words or something like that or whatnot to one another. One person might get it or something. But we just like, we are here to play. We are brothers keeper. Just a
Mm-hmm.
little something like that. But the rah stuff didn't come until 2011 when I just did it one time, thinking like it was just a one time, like it was just I just happened to be feeling it, and I'm like, all right, I done it, and so I thought like maybe the next week, somebody else they feel it, and they get up and they do it, but it next thing you know, they started looking, they started opening it up and was looking for me like to be doing it. And I'm like, man, I'm like what, like Vernon, y'all, Vernon or Frank, y'all don't, and so what would happen though is people would say, when I would get up there, I would really, when I started realizing they was gonna have, when I started realizing I was doing it almost like often, that's when I started being like, okay, now I gotta try to write it out. So the night before, I be working on my feet,
Mm.
working on my feet, and then after I finished working on my feet, I would sit down, I would try to write out my speech, and then I would get up the next day and I'm on my way on the bus riding over to the game. I would try to write out like the speech, but then I can never remember none of that stuff I wrote down. And then it wasn't like I would have it in my pocket and I get out there and I'm like, pull it out. I'm like, all right, y'all. Like, so it was, so what would happen is now I think about it, I would do all that writing down and I get out there. And what would happen is I would just feel the guys. Like, I would just feel the energy in which we pre-gaming, you just look into each other's eyes and whatnot. And then all in all, you just bring out the energy that you're going to play with and you just speak it authentically. And yeah, and that's just where it would come from. But it would be, but you have to. It's like a mood. Like people say now, like, hey, can you come motivate our guys? I'm like, man, this. I feel like I wouldn't be doing justice. I feel like I would just be talking, like just be saying like these words. Because if I'm not in it with you, it's hard. Like and it's coming from the soul, or I'm like I'm bringing it out. Where I'm like, let's go. Like what I'm saying. Like it's almost like I'm speaking from the again, your heart is major, but man, when it comes from that gut and then it
Yeah.
hits the heart and then feels good in the mind, that's when you just like, okay. Like, so yeah, it started in 2011 and yeah, I just ended up doing it like most of the time.
Yeah, because whenever I see guys do those speeches, I'm like, man, how do they come up with that in the moment? So it's good to
Yeah.
know that you kind of were doing some notes here and there.
Yeah, yeah, I thought that's what I was, so to reference like that's what I thought. Though I thought trying to write those, I thought writing those notes down. But see, that's the thing. In school, I wasn't the best note taker. Like I would try to write notes, but I write paragraphs. We have other people, they knew how to write the point
Yeah.
and then the da da da. And I used to be like, man, how do you know like to write that? How do you not write the whole thing? So I would write like I'm writing a whole paragraph. So it wasn't like I would have like three bullet points and then I would just hit on those three. No, I wouldn't. That's not how I. That's why I'm not a. I call it a public, public speaker.
Yeah.
I get off. I would get off on a. I probably have done it now. The spirit just hit me, and I just go to. I just go that way or whatnot. Opposed
Yeah.
to like everything that I thought I was feeling last night. I'm like, I'm not feeling that right now. Like that, I don't even know that's gone. That was
Yeah.
last night. So
That's funny. Well, you were inducted into the 49er Hall of Fame recently with John Taylor. You guys went in together. And did you approve of the statue? It had the signature pose. I thought it looked pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah. Shout out to John Taylor, Mr. John Taylor. Yeah. Phenomenal athlete, phenomenal Niners player, a phenomenal guy. Like, and I'm honored to have went in with him, and they did get the trophy. I'm sorry, they did get the statue right. I mean, I had to go up and we had to go up and I had to go up to New York and do the whole mold and everything, and
Wow.
so yeah, it was pretty special. I got some pictures of it. I need to post one. I'll probably do it like next year when we.
Mm,
I don't know. I need to do it sometime when that where I had to do all the Play-Doh. It was a great day, but it was a long
mm.
day, and there was a lot of just posing and whatnot. But they got it right though, and just to be in there with the fraternity of the Niners Hall of Fame players is really special. I mean, to have that the organization itself is traditionally historically like 5 Super Bowls, and I was
Yeah.
part of trying to get the sixth one or whatnot. Though we haven't, they might do it this year.
Yeah, it might happen.
But yeah, just being a part of that, being in the Niners Hall of Fame, growing up as a kid that couldn't stand the Niners. Again, that's why I would tell you, man, the Lord working mysterious ways. Because if you'd asked me when I was a kid, would you be in the Niners Hall of Fame? What? No, I ain't that. I'd be in the Cowboys Hall of Fame or Tampa Bay Buccaneers Hall of Fame or something like, But I would never thought the Niners Hall of Fame. But yeah, they got it right.
Well, I know it's not the NFL Hall of Fame yet. It's going to happen. But
I
I
think,
do. The red suit is a pretty good look, actually.
oh, I appreciate it. No, I actually, red is man, it is interesting. Red is my favorite color.
Mm.
I mean, I like all colors. Now I like, yeah, I like a bunch of colors. Now, a lot more colors I did when I was growing up. I was just straight red and maybe blue and black. But yeah, I did like that whole red and white outfit that
Yeah, good look
I,
to it.
I appreciate it.
Well, when does the Patrick Willis movie or book come out?
Ryan, man, that's a great question. I feel like it's still the story is still going. However, um, I feel like there's been some nice chapters up until this point, and I think it's just a matter of um, just I've had a few talks here and there, but nothing ever just concretely like just stood. But now at this moment in junction in life, I'm a little bit more I don't know what word I'm looking for, but perhaps sooner than later, but all in right time, and I guess whenever that is.
Well, that sounds good. Looking forward to it. And where are you right now? You mentioned you went back to Tennessee for Christmas. Are you still in the Bay Area or?
Yeah. Still in the Bay Area,
Oh, nice.
but I go back and I've been going back and forth to the South a little more these days. When I was younger, I was still just West Coast. Like, man, I really enjoyed being out there, but now finding myself coming back a little bit more. I don't know if it's just natural, like, but the core of me is like, man, like just I don't know. The more I've been going back, the more I've been feeling like, man, it could be a lot. And then also too, couple of homies like, man, when you gonna get off the West Coast and get back this way so we can do some stuff together? Like, we got some things we need to get done or whatnot. And and that always makes it a little bit better when you are a little bit closer. And then most of my family is back in the South as well. So yeah, so we'll see. At the moment, I'm
Yeah.
still, still West Coast vibing, and I probably still always keep something on the West Coast. And just right now, I'm kind of, people ask me, and I say I'm kind of bi-coastal. I'm here and there. Then too, I'm a little nervous being like, hey, I'm just right here, because once they know you planted right there somewhere, then they start being like, all right, now we know where to find them.
Yeah.
I'm like, nope.
Well,
So
Patrick, it was really good to have you on the show and reflect with you. But what else do you have planned for today? Have you gotten the workout in yet, or what else is on the agenda?
I did get the workout in just a little while ago. First workout in about 5 days. When I was actually talking to the homie last, they said, "Man, have you been working out?" And I was like, "Man, I haven't, man. I haven't broke a sweat." But today, I got up this morning. I said, let me get on it. Let me not wait until the new year to start moving or whatnot. So let me get on it. So I went and got me a nice one in today. And now, honestly, I'm just gonna probably go get something to eat. Man. I haven't eaten this morning. I just had a banana and a chai latte. So probably gonna go fuel up with something hearty.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I haven't eaten since yesterday, so I need to get on that.
Oh, really? What what
Yeah.
what you what you intermittent fasting?
No, no, I just woke up a little late, and then I was like, well, we got to do this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You
So
know what? Don't,
I'm forcing myself to fast, I guess.
hey, you know what? Don't tell nobody. I have days like that.
uh,
No, Ron. It was good talking to you.
yeah, you too. Well, Patrick, thanks for your time. It was a lot of fun getting to know you and just reflect on some great memories. You're one of my favorite 49ers, so to have you on the show really meant a lot. And who knows, like you said, maybe we'll see each other down the line.
Oh, for sure, Ron. Hey, it was a pleasure to be on Jim on Base.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.